Personalising is an essential part of the Toni and Guy philosophy. Texturising techniques are used to adapt classic shapes to suit the individual. On the last video in this series, we introduced techniques such as point cutting, slicing, brick cutting and razoring, which expand the classic portfolio to accommodate all lengths and textures of hair and allow the stylist to develop their creativity for the benefit of the client. The graduated layer technique creates shape and texture through the interior and graduated softness around the perimeter. A profile parting is taken from the centre of the forehead to the centre of the nape. A horseshoe section is taken from below the crown to the recession area. A slightly diagonal forward section is taken from the centre of the horseshoe down to the nape. With the head upright, the section is combed and elevated to 90 degrees. The line is cut to decrease in length from the interior to the perimeter. Slightly diagonal forward sections are continued through the back to behind the ear. Subdivide the previous section to use as a guide. Comb and elevate to 90 degrees and cut to follow the guideline. From the ear forward, continue working with diagonal forward sections. Comb and elevate to 90 degrees and cut to decrease in length. The last section is over-directed back to the previous to maintain length and softness at the perimeter, and can be personalised once the shape is dried. Cross-check horizontally. The technique is repeated on the opposite side. Note how the hand position changes. The balance is checked before continuing. Radial partings are taken from the crown to the top of the ear, separating the back sections from the front. A pivoting radial section is taken from the crown to the top of the occipital. With the head upright, the section is combed to 90 degrees. The line is cut, connecting the internal length to the previously cut graduation at the same angle. Pivoting radial sections are worked in the same way. Cutting to follow the guide until the radial parting is reached. The technique is repeated on the opposite side. Again, note how the hand position has changed. Check balance. Working in front of the radial parting, diagonal forward sections are continued through to the front hairline. Each section is combed and cut at 90 degrees, extending the graduation guideline. The last section is over-directed back to the previous to allow for the recession area. Cross-check horizontally. The technique is repeated on the opposite side. A profile section is taken from the front hairline to the crown. Using the crown as a guide to length, the hair is combed to 90 degrees and point cut square. Maintaining the length at the front hairline. Across the top, horizontal sections are taken. The hair is combed to 90 degrees and the line point cut from the profile parting to the outer edge. The choice to layer round or square can be made depending on suitability. In this case, the line is cut square. The last horizontal section is once again over-directed back to allow for the recession area. The opposite side is point cut in the same way. And the balance checked. The hair is now ready for blow drying. Power dry to remove excess moisture. And use a flat brush to create a textured finish. The shape is personalized to suit the individual. The perimeter is detailed using a combination of point cutting and surface channeling. has been coloured using the reverse diagonal horseshoe technique, which can be viewed on the Toni & Guy Classic Colour series. Graduated layer recap. Back and sides below horseshoe. Partings and sections slight diagonal forward. Distribution moves from 90 degrees to over-directed. Elevation is also 90 degrees to over-directed. And the cut is a vertical graduation. Above horseshoe. Partings and sections move from pivoting radials into diagonal forward. Distribution moves from 90 degrees to over-directed. Elevation is also 90 degrees to over-directed. And the cut is a vertical graduation. Top. Partings and sections move from a profile into a horizontal. Distribution moves from 90 degrees into over-directed. Elevation moves from 90 degrees into over-directed. And the line is point cut square.